Hi everybody, Beth here from Access Paranormal. This week's I Want to Know, which is a very light and fluffy topic of multiverse and interdimensions, and it's going to be a very basic, high-level view of what these particular topics are, and also what's it got to do with paranormal investigating. So I'll start off by mentioning a little bit about what multiverse is, and also hi Damo, and also I'll go into a little bit about what interdimensions are, or interdimensional actually is. Hi Karen, good to see you here. So firstly, multiverse, as the name suggests, multi being plenty and verse being universe. So of course it means there's lots of different universes around, and of course we're talking about speculation here. This is very basic physics here. Obviously, the reason why obviously it's speculated, we just don't know. We take obviously some hypotheses, some educated guesses on how our universe actually works. So being able to these are a couple of ideas that some physicists have actually thought of how our universe actually works. So multiverse is, there's lots of different universes. So we think about how our universe has been created, which was through randomness, through the Big Bang Theory, which is one theory, of course, and it exploded, and somehow here I am talking to you through my phone, and obviously being recorded for later on as well. Life was created through this randomness. Now, if it can happen here, the possibility of it being able to happen elsewhere is quite high, or thought to be quite high. We've got, the universe, the galaxy, everything is just infinite. It's infinite. We don't know where the boundaries are. So if this can happen in this particular tiny, we're talking like a grain of sand in an 8-mile beach type thing. If it can happen here in this particular thing with the randomness that has caused it, then how it can happen elsewhere as well. Hello. Good to see you, mate. So that's one of the thoughts of how our universe was created. But of course, if it was created that way, then there's other ways in which other universes were created. So with that being the case, say for instance, this universe, here I am as me, but maybe there's another universe that was created randomly where I'm a guy, or I live in another part of the world, which is in another universe. Purely because of the randomness in which it happened. So that gives it, we're talking high level here sort of stuff. So that's a general gist of what multiverse actually is. Spectra, hi Lynch, how are you? So that's one idea. So there's a couple of thoughts on regards to multiverse. There's lots of different universes, and there's sort of ricochets of people living different lives within them as well. Now, there are actually 3 sort of types or explanations as the types of multiverse. I'm a visual learner, so I have to draw things out. So these are really bad drawings. So I do apologize. My sister got the artistic gene. I certainly missed it from our father. So the first one is the bubble theory. So that's what it looks like. Of course, bubble is backwards because it's Facebook video. So what it is the fact that there are universes floating about in their contained areas with their little stars and planets and all having a great time. And obviously, what's in them, obviously more life, chances of life on those particular ones. So that's one idea, is how this universe actually is being put together. So that's one. Of course, then there's, this one's a bit tricky. This is membranes. Now you'll notice I don't have anything on that piece of paper. Reason being is with the membrane speculation, I guess you could say, is that there's 2-dimensional within 3-dimensional. So this is a 2-dimensional object per se, and living in a 3-dimensional environment. It does get a little bit more technical than that, but I'm going to leave it at that because it's, my brain's going to explode just from trying to explain it. Just something different. And then of course there's the other one, which is called many worlds. This is what I think has more, it seems more legit as far as a particular style. And it basically is like a choose your own adventure. So you've gone through this path, you've made a choice, and then it'll spear off to another particular type of choice, and then another choice. And it's almost like this is the choice, that's this universe, that's your next universe, that's your other universe. So for me, from my thought process, I believe this is probably more likely out of all the others. Probably a mixture of that as well as the bubble theory as well. But many worlds, it really is like a choose your own type of venture. Hi Kaz, good to see you, lovely. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the 3 different types of multiverse. Of course, then there is interdimensional. Now, of course, some people may think, well, they sound pretty similar, but obviously the main difference with interdimensional compared to multiverse is that interdimensional actually interact with each other. So there's other dimensions that can actually either collide or skip or move alongside. If it's moving alongside, it's generally termed as parallel universe. Now, I know that Haunted Auckland, a big shout out to those guys. They've got some information on their website, which is a really great way of being able to explain what interdimensional actually is. Now, say for instance, in this particular situation, while I move this, and of course that's going to fall over. This is a fridge magnet, but we'll pretend it's actually a picture. It's a photo. Now, the way that interdimensional actually works is that this is 2D, I'm 3D. If I was to put my finger on this particular picture's shoulder, this is Elizabeth Bartery from Hungary. Slovakia, my bad. And if I was to do that, would she on another plane feel that? So, or sense it or see it. And then of course, if I move my finger away, then it's disappeared as well. So that gives you a bit of a snapshot as to how the possibility of interdimensional works, where one goes into another. Now, of course, what has this got to do with the paranormal? Let me tell you. When we think of, for instance, for that particular scenario, that could possibly explain why some people have residual hauntings, as we know it. Or it could explain why some people have see time slips where they go around a corner and there's something seems to be playing out from many, many years ago, and then it just disappears. So in that way, it can help explain it. It also could explain maybe, could it be something where the dimensions actually interacted with each other in that moment, where one dimension from another. Also, maybe the possibility of, say, for instance, someone says what they call a twin stranger, or some people know it as doppelganger. Maybe that's the possibility of somebody's, interdimensional section or a multiverse situation where someone's seeing somebody living out a life in another area that they would have chosen, but somehow it's just kind of intertwined into this particular universe, and it actually was somebody, but they were living out a completely different life. Now, there's so many tales and stories on the internet of people who felt that they have somewhat sort of seen or witnessed multiverse. There was one woman, I remember reading a story where she woke up in pajamas that weren't quite her normal pajamas. She went to work in the same building for 20 years and it was a completely different department. The boyfriend that she'd left 6 months ago was actually happily with her in her home. It really messed up her mind. She swears the fact that, she feels like she's living in a different universe as opposed to what it was before. Again, you want to have to rule out neurological issues going on first. But she really did feel that, and has felt ever since, now that she's with a guy that she left 6 months ago, she's still living with the guy. So, if you're going to go and have a multi-dimensional situation or multiverse situation, you'd want it to be in your favor, not in your favor. But yeah, so there's lots of stories out there if you want to go and have a look at that. I will see if I can post a link to a really good video that helps explain a little bit more about the different types of universes and how it all works. But it's another possible idea is to explain why we may think that we're seeing dead people or hearing dead people. Maybe there isn't an afterlife. Maybe there is something else, another explanation when it comes to this. Sorry. Maybe there's a universe where I wasn't coughing. So yeah, that just really, really interesting stuff. As I said, some of it can be quite heavy. It is sometimes heavy for me. It takes me sometimes a bit of time to absorb it. Once I've got it in here, it's in there and that's good. Or I draw really, really bad pictures to help explain it. So go and have a look. Sliding doors, exactly. It's a great movie, Sliding Doors. Foxy's mentioned a great example of the fact that the doors opening and shutting in this one particular train carriage then changes the course of this person's life. It really makes you, sort of open your eyes into the possibilities, particularly with the many worlds theory there too. So it's all good. So anyway, I will post that link on there, so it gives you a bit more of an indication too. But yeah, go and have a look at it. Look up some information if you can. If I find some really good digestible information on it, I will post it up on the Access Paranormal page and the Learning Lounge Facebook page, as well as possibly YouTube as well, or link it as well to this particular video. So thank you everybody for watching, and I hope your minds are blown. Take care.